You know how much we love getting ideas and suggestions here at Always Wondered. And we got a great one from Leanne from Arizona. She's always wondered, what are those squishy little balls in tapioca pudding? If you've never had it, tapioca pudding kind of walks the fine line between a comfort food dessert and mild body horror. Tapioca is made from cassava root. If you were to eat that root raw, you'd probably meet your ancestors early. But once processed, it becomes tapioca starch, which can then be rolled into little orbs called tapioca pearls. And for some seemingly unknown reason, people looked at those gushy, translucent spheres and said,
"Hey, I have a good idea. Let's put these in pudding."
Now, some people love the combo, but others say it reminds them of fish eyes and glue.
Gross!
But the pudding industry is adamant that neither fish eyes nor glue are contained in their products.
Well, I'm gonna read the labels anyway.
But in the end, it's pudding with texture, and it's been winning hearts and weirding people out for generations. So thank you for a great question. And if you have a thought or suggestion for future topics, be it pudding related or not, feel free to let us know. Because that's what we're all about around here. Exploring life's little mysteries, one weird factoid at a time. And as for now, welcome to the podcast that answers some of the questions you've always wondered about.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for joining us. Today we begin with beer. That ancient golden beverage, foamy, fizzy, served slightly too warm if you're in Britain.
I'll have you know that we serve it at room temperature.
Yeah, if you say so. But whether you like it lukewarm or cold enough to hurt your face, have you always wondered, where did beer come from?
From my fridge?
No, I mean its history.
Oh.
Well, for the answer, we need to rewind about 7,000 years. The place? Ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, where beer was most likely discovered by accident. A grain storage basket gets rained on, the soggy grain sits in the sun and starts to ferment, and someone comes along and sniffs the strange slop and says,
Not sure what this is. Let's drink it.
Now this sounds like a drunken dare you might expect at a frat party, but these people were sober at the time. They tried it, and boom! Beer was born. It turns out the ancient Sumerians loved beer so much, they paid tribute to Ninkasi, the goddess of beer.
O goddess of the fermented beverage, bless us with a pint, and maybe a karaoke mic.
Even the Egyptians got in on the act. The workers who built the pyramids? Yeah, they were paid in beer.
Hey, we need a few volunteers to stay late and finish the north wall.
Overtime?
Yep.
Double beer?
Double beer.
Grab the chisels, boys!
Now fast forward several centuries, and beer gets a serious upgrade. The monks in medieval Europe perfected brewing,
We've taken a vow of silence, but not of sobriety.
basically making monasteries the first craft breweries. Today, beer is a global empire. It's estimated that there are as many as 400 different styles of beer, and up to 20,000 brands worldwide. So the next time you raise a glass, remember, beer has been helping humans dance badly, give meandering impromptu speeches, and believe they're good at darts for thousands of years. Cheers to the soggy grain accident that started it all.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Our next topic kind of surprised me, and I'm betting you might feel the same way too. So we'll simply ask the question, have you always wondered, are there really such things as random numbers? Here's what we mean. Someone will say,
pick a number between 1 and 10.
and you might think the answers would be all over the place. There's no way to predict it. But it turns out that's not the case. Because believe it or not, there's one number that people tend to zero in on. Let's figure this out. Most will automatically eliminate the outliers, 1 and 10. They're gone. And 2 and 9? Too close to the extremes. They're gone too. So suddenly we're down to 6 numbers. And when it comes to randomness, even numbers are just too perfect. They don't sound random, so let's toss them out too. That leaves 3, 5, and 7. The number 5, that tries too hard. Too much in the middle. That's out of here. So that leaves 3 and 7. Either are good options, but researchers say that the Goldilocks number, the one that's just right, the popular kid of the number world, is the number 7.
Hey, that was my number.
Well, you're not alone. Psychologists say that there's something special about 7 that just feels random. So that's why people gravitate to it. Okay, now let's up the stakes.
Pick a number between 1 and 100.
Again, I know what you're thinking. There are way too many choices. The numbers will be all over the place. That's what I was thinking too, but turns out that's wrong. even between 1 and 100, there is one number that tends to get the attention. You ready?
Ready.
It's the number 37.
So why that number?
Our brains think,
Ooh, that sounds really random.
but psychologists say it's just random looking. Not a round number, not a nice multiple of 5, just clever enough to feel obscure.
Kind of like picking Topeka as your favorite vacation spot?
Exactly. In the end, humans are typically terrible at being random. We're highly predictable with a real soft spot for prime numbers. So whenever someone says,
Pick a random number.
maybe steer clear of 7, throw them a curveball like 49 or 88 or 1,262,900.
Hey, that last one is cheating.
Yeah, maybe. But it is hilariously random.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Ever had one of those moments where you're minding your own business, maybe stretching in bed, maybe running to first base, and bam, your leg decides,
Nope, I'm locking up. You're never moving from this spot again.
congratulations, you just met the dreaded Charley Horse. But have you always wondered, where did the term Charley Horse come from? I mean, when our leg muscles seize up, why do we call it a Charley? Why not leg lightning, or calf catastrophe, or my personal favorite, hamstring from hell? I mean, who is this Charlie? And why does he enjoy inflicting pain so much? Well, for the answer, we step back to the late 1800s. There are a few theories out there. Turns out that all have to do with baseball, so I think it's only fitting that we get 3 swings at it, all right? The first has to do with Hall of Fame pitcher Charley Old Hoss Radbourn, famous for 3 things: winning an incredible 60 games in a single season, having a mustache so impressive it could block out the sun, and a tendency to get leg cramps when running the bases. Soon those leg injuries became associated with the man himself,
Good old Charley Horse.
which eventually morphed into Charley Horse. The second theory? It involves the Chicago White Stockings grounds crew. An old workhorse would pull a roller over the field, making the surface flat and smooth for gameplay. But that horse had a definite limp, and the horse's name? Charley. So when one of the Chicago players suffered a leg cramp, his teammates would joke,
Hey, he looks just like that Charley Horse.
Now for the third theory. It also involves that Chicago team. Several players reportedly went to the track to place a surefire bet on a horse named Charley. But when he came up limp just before the finish line, players went home broke. So afterwards, whenever a player would pull a leg muscle, the team would lament.
Yep, just like that Charley Horse.
Now, the real story may be as elusive as a knuckleball, but it's probably in there somewhere, and baseball definitely gets the credit. So remember, the next time your leg muscle decides to seize up, instead of just screaming,
Ah, my leg!
you can thank our national pastime for giving your pain a proper name.
Yep, good old Charley Horse.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Well, that's going to wrap up another episode of Always Wondered, the podcast where we dig for answers, find even more questions, and occasionally get distracted by shiny historical objects. And as always, we leave you with one to ponder. Have you always wondered if a tomato is a fruit, does that make ketchup a smoothie? So until next time, stay curious and keep wondering. I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for listening.
The Always Wondered podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and a review. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. Feel free to offer suggestions for future topics or simply reach out to alwayswonderedpodcast@gmail.com.